I've met parents that can fall loosely into two groups over the years, and it's either a parent who says, my child has been struggling for a long time. These are what some of their struggles have looked like. A part of this struggle is this depression, this sort of place of not feeling any hope. And then I've met parents that say to me, when my child leaves the house, they look like any other child out there. And then they come home and I hear these things that break my heart as a parent. And so I think that it's important. I always like to share that with other parents that sort of depression and thinking about suicide for our children, it doesn't always fit in a neat box. And I think that that's really, really important because I think for me, in my experience, that's where some denial can slip in, right? If I tell myself that, a child who has this challenge needs to look like this, it sort of allows me to not see all sides of my child, right? And so I think that that's really been an important piece of my work too, is going out and speaking to parents and saying that, yes, they're absolutely the children that, have been engaging in the system for a number of years, trying to get their needs met. Parents that have been advocating for kiddos that unfortunately have thoughts of hurting themselves on a regular basis, almost like in a pattern and in a cycle. I know many caregivers, unfortunately, parenting children like that. And then I've met many caregivers whose children have gone through a hard time. They're going through a huge transition. And all of a sudden, their parents are hearing unthinkable things. I got a phone call from a parent a year ago who was reaching out to me, and she knew that I was engaged in this work. And she said to me, my child just got off the computer with your child, and your child did such a great job letting them know. My child was 8 at this time. My second set of children are a little bit younger. There's a big age gap, and the parents had said to me, your child did such a nice job saying to my parent, I didn't like when you did this. And it was not, this is feedback that my child gets all the time. But for some reason, they came to me at bedtime and they were saying that they were thinking about not wanting to live anymore. And this parent, it would be easy to minimize that. Oh, kids say the darndest things. Or, this child's being a little bit traumatic. But for this caregiver, it was really so impressive that she was able to go ahead and speak those words to another parent, to be able to come to me and say, my child said these words that I thought I'd never hear. And what do you think about that? And in my experience, that is the most important thing we can do for our kids who have these big, hard feelings, is to voice them to someone else. Now, that someone else could be someone at school if we feel comfortable with them. It could be someone at that soccer practice. Maybe it is a therapist you've already been working with because you've known that they're going through a hard time but didn't expect those big words. But also, it can literally just be one other person. It can be someone else. I mean, I think that parents with kiddos that are struggling, we have radars for one another. That's why anytime I'm at an event, whether it is soccer or it is Cub Scouts, I always speak up and I share just a little bit of my journey in an appropriate way. And it is amazing how many other caregivers have kids that are going through a hard time, have been going through a hard time. So that's why, in my experience, parents also often say to me, who should I tell? Who should I say something to? And in my mind, first of all, as a parent, we never want to believe that our children could feel like this and could experience this. So to be able to just say the words alone out loud, it is really the first step in advocating for our child. And I actually think it's less important who we say something to initially as it is that we do say something.